Welcome to the Infrastructural Countermeasures session of the Local Road Safety Plan Implementation Training Series. The purpose of this training session is to provide county and municipal engineers, planners, and public works departments with low-cost approaches to implementing traffic safety infrastructure countermeasures on county and municipal roads. Approaches presented in this session were identified based on conversations with stakeholders during the development of the 4 local road safety plans for the South Jersey Transportation Planning Organization, or SJTPO. Note that this training is geared towards actions that can be implemented with in-house staff and limited resources, and is not a comprehensive approach to traffic safety. The approaches presented here are a selection of low-cost countermeasures and best practices, though there are many other options agencies may consider as they work towards zero deaths. This session will begin by defining what constitutes effective low-cost infrastructural approaches to traffic safety and explaining the purpose and benefits. Several examples of low-cost infrastructure countermeasures will be explored, including signage and pavement marking strategies, various speed management techniques, intersection visibility improvements, and different types of quick build and demonstration projects. Low-cost countermeasures are countermeasures or implementation approaches that are designed to be affordable, scalable, and effective in addressing common roadway safety concerns without requiring major infrastructure changes. The intention of these strategies are to improve traffic safety by utilizing in-house staff, do not require engineering design, and utilize materials typically on hand for public works departments or can be obtained with minimal costs. Since maintenance departments typically have materials such as paint available, countermeasures such as applying pavement markings, like the curb extensions with crosswalks and the bike lane examples on this slide, are typically considered low cost and easily installed. In this first section, we will go into more depth on general pavement markings, with examples, location suggestions, and implementation guidelines. Pavement markings are a versatile way to relay messages to all road users. Reflective or high visibility paint or tape is applied to the roadway surface to regulate traffic and to alert drivers of upcoming hazards or conditions, such as intersections, schools, pedestrian crossings, or horizontal curves. Examples of pavement markings can include installing center or edge lines, or widening the edge lines from 4 inches to 6 inches where already present. Installing high visibility crosswalks is another pavement application that can be installed at any intersection where there is significant pedestrian traffic, which can be supplemented with advanced pavement warning messages or signage. The location examples listed here are only a few suggestions on where to consider installing pavement markings to increase safety for all road users, including intersections, pedestrian crossings, bike facilities, school zones, curves, roundabouts, and highways. In addition to these specific examples, determine if it is possible to apply the pavement markings systemically, meaning that they can be applied to a network of roads or intersections that meet certain criteria, not necessarily dependent on crash history or specific areas of concern. Another suggestion would be to identify opportunities to incorporate striping into other projects, like painting center or edge lines on a road that previously did not have them during a repaving cycle, or upgrading to a high visibility thermoplastic. Consult the Local Road Safety Plan and appendices for location recommendations specific to your county, including a systemic network of locations based on roadway attributes where certain pavement markings may be more effective. Pavement markings shape how streets are used, whether applied by professionals or created through community collaboration with demonstration projects. Trained crews use specialized equipment for precise, durable installations, while volunteers can also apply temporary markings with paint or tape. Borrowing equipment and expertise from other agencies or counties can also help to keep the cost low. An important part of general pavement markings are stencils. Borrowing stencils can make street improvements more accessible, allowing communities to create clear, consistent markings without needing expensive tools. It's a simple way to share resources, spark local engagement, and ensure traffic messages are easy to read and widely understood. The example shown here illustrates a curve ahead pavement message to alert drivers of an upcoming curve in the road on Cumberland County Road 552. This next section will highlight some examples of low cost and easily implementable speed management strategies. Installing optical speed bars, or speed reduction markings, is a speed management technique that encourages drivers to reduce their speed with the use of pavement markings. The markings are composed of a pattern of transverse dashes perpendicular to the lane lines. The markings are designed to create an illusion that a vehicle is accelerating by spacing the dashes closer together in the direction a vehicle is traveling. Consider implementing optical speed bars in advance of horizontal curves in school zones, locations that have a high number of speeding-related crashes, locations identified through a crash data query tool, or locations identified by the community or local law enforcement personnel where speeding is a concern. Also consult the local road safety plan and appendices for more guidance on places where speeding-related crashes may be an issue. Optical speed bars are painted on both sides of an individual lane, perpendicular to the center or edge lines. Markings should not exceed 18 inches long and 12 inches wide. The marking should span a total roadway distance long enough that a driver is in the optical speed bar zone for at least 4 seconds, as recommended by the Federal Highway Administration. The bottom image demonstrates the placement of optical speed bars ahead of a curve. These are two examples where optical speed bars have been applied to encourage safer driving. The left image is Atlantic County Route 552 at Pittsburgh Avenue in Hamilton Township. The bars are placed in advance of a horizontal curve in a residential area, helping drivers anticipate changes in the road and slow down. In the right image, the bars are used on a tree-lined road with limited visibility, reinforcing speed reduction as vehicles approach an uphill bend. Once the optical speed bars are installed, a plan to evaluate their performance should be developed, which may include an analysis and crashes before and after implementation, a comparison of the need for enforcement or citations issued, or the completion of a speed study. Progress updates should be noted quarterly on the local road safety plan website at saferoadsouthjersey.com. Lane narrowing is another type of speed management technique. This countermeasure decreases the lane width of a roadway to influence drivers to slow down. Although a roadway lane typically measures 12 feet in New Jersey, the New Jersey Roadway Design Manual recommends decreasing the width to 10 or 11 feet for the purpose of traffic calming, though this will depend on your specific roadway conditions and environment. Prioritize locations that have a high number of speeding-related crashes, identified using a crash query tool or local safety plans, or consult with the community or enforcement agencies for input on areas where speeding is an ongoing issue. Ensure that you're also considering roadway attributes when considering locations. Narrowing lanes can have a detrimental impact on roads with high traffic volume or truck traffic. Consider the land use and whether the roadway is in an urban or rural area and the impact a narrower lane will have. Also take into account the pedestrian and bicycle traffic, as narrowing a lane can decrease speeding ahead of crosswalks but also create enough room on the side of the road to install a bike lane. One result of narrowing a lane or roadway is an increase in shoulder width. While the shoulders can be left as is to increase the clear zone, they can also be converted to a bike lane if the width and roadway characteristics meet the design standards and criteria, like this local example in Camden, New Jersey. Consult Complete Streets or the Roadway Design Manual for recommendations to help get you started. When prioritizing locations that would make good candidates for lane narrowing, it is recommended to first consider locations that have a high number of speed-related crashes identified using a crash data query tool or be identified by the community or local law enforcement personnel where speeding is a concern. Also consider roadway attributes to narrow down the possible locations, such as area type, traffic volume, truck traffic, and pedestrian and bicyclist volume. Before new edgelines can be painted, the existing ones must first be removed and the roadway resurfaced or microsurfaced as necessary. Once installed, a plan to evaluate the performance should be developed, which may include a measured reduction in crashes, a decreased need for enforcement, or the completion of a speed study. Narrowing lanes may provide an option to add a separated bicycle lane or create wider or paved shoulders on one or both sides of the road. Another strategy is to supplement this with striping in the shoulder, shown in this example. Vehicle or dynamic speed feedback signs are electronic signs that alert drivers of their speed using radar. The speed is detected and then shown on an LED display. If a vehicle is exceeding the targeted speed, their speed will flash or display the text "slow down" or other message to indicate speeding. Variations of this device can be portable or permanent, or solar powered so they do not require electricity or additional power hookup. This is especially beneficial in rural areas where a power source may not be available. Choose locations to display speed feedback signs based on where speeding is a concern or has the potential to be an issue. This may include locations with a high number of speeding-related crashes, identified using a crash data query tool or pre-existing transportation plans, locations identified by the community or local law enforcement personnel where speeding occurs, in advance of horizontal curves, school zones, work zones, or in residential neighborhoods. If using a portable version, consider relocating the sign frequently to different locations to maintain the novelty of the device. While there are many different models of a vehicle speed feedback sign, the overall idea is to alert the driver of their speed compared to the posted speed limit and encourage the driver to slow down. Different options for the feedback sign can be a flashing speed if they are over the speed limit or a customized message. Portable speed feedback trailers, like in these examples, are a great option since they can frequently be relocated to different areas of concern. When setting up a portable speed feedback trailer, ensure that the device is not placed in the potential path of pedestrians, bicyclists, or emergency vehicles. One good option would be placing it in the grass or open area so it is not in the roadway or blocking the shoulder. It is worth noting that some models of speed feedback signs have the capability to collect and store speed and traffic volume data, which can then be downloaded and utilized for alternate traffic analysis, enforcement planning, or infrastructure improvement strategies. Once installed, a plan to evaluate the performance should be developed at each separate location that a speed feedback sign is posted to determine its efficacy or need for other speed mitigation strategies. This can be measured by reviewing any crashes that occurred while the feedback sign was posted, comparing traffic stops or citations, or the completion of a speed study. The next countermeasure we'll discuss is daylighting intersections. Daylighting intersections is a general term that includes any method of improving sight distance at an intersection approach. This includes removing visual obstructions or improving the visual field of view, which also promotes pedestrian and bicyclist safety. Taking land use into account when selecting locations, such as whether an intersection is in a rural or urban setting, can help prioritize sites that will benefit most from daylighting. Clearing vegetation, overgrowth, and other obstacles is especially impactful at rural intersections where speeds may be higher and drivers have less time to react for vehicles turning from a side road. We strongly recommend implementing this systemically along any high-volume rural roadway. Alternatively, daylighting at urban intersections may focus more on pedestrian safety, such as adding in curb extensions or prohibiting parking near the intersection by using materials such as poles, pavement markings, or planters. This can also be implemented systemically along urban corridors to adopt a proactive approach to safety to supplement application at intersections where crashes have already occurred. Intersections that are a good candidate for daylighting can be identified by executing a crash data query with a program such as Numetric, by identifying urban intersections with pedestrian or bicycle traffic, or by consulting community representatives. There are also resources through SJTPO's safety planning website with links to lists of intersections that have already been analyzed as part of a network screening analysis, including a list that represents pedestrian and bicycle crashes at intersections for each county. The county local road safety plan also contains a systemic analysis to aid in implementing across a broader network. The concept behind intersection daylighting is opening up the visibility or sight triangles approaching the intersection. In an urban environment, this can include prohibiting parking and installing curb bump outs to decrease blind spots and increase visibility, especially of pedestrians crossing the road. In a rural area, clearing vegetation and other obstacles opens up the intersection approaches, making it easier for drivers to slow down for vehicles that enter from an intersection onto the major road. Intersections adjacent to curves should also be identified as priority locations, as visibility can be exceptionally poor. To select a strategy to implement, consider the resources and budget. Many of the ways to implement daylighting at intersections can be low cost and use materials that are already in-house, can be borrowed, or be purchased at a low price. Partner with local businesses, stakeholders, engineers, and planners to determine feasibility. In urban areas where several locations are in close proximity to each other, consider installing systemically to maximize resources. Once installed and results are evaluated, consider alternate methods to improve the outcome, or consider a more permanent or upgraded fixture if the project is successful. In the final section of this training, we will focus on quick build and demonstration projects with examples, implementation strategies, best practices, and location suggestions. Quick build and demonstration projects are small-scale, non-permanent fixtures or strategies that can be implemented in a much shorter time frame than full build improvements. Because of the materials and construction techniques used, these projects can be a bridge to a permanent project or be used to pilot a project before broader implementation. Since these projects are intended to be short-term, temporary, and reversible, this provides the opportunity to see potential results and receive community feedback before a more permanent solution is installed, keeping the initial project relatively low cost. Projects can be varying degrees of level of effort, depending on the resources and funds available. Quick build and demonstration projects are also a key element in advancing the Complete Streets initiative, which incorporates safety of all road users and modes of transportation in designing a roadway. There is a technical assistance program available to provide support for municipalities in the SJTPO region, which we will detail later in this presentation. There are several quick build and demonstration projects that have already been implemented in New Jersey, including this curb bump out at the Harrison Avenue and Hiram Place intersection in the town of Harrison in Hudson County. This slide shows a short list of common examples of quick build or demonstration projects. These can include constructing a protected bicycle lane using paint, delineators, or barriers. In areas with high pedestrian activity, different variations of curb extensions can be installed to prohibit parking, improve intersection visibility, and to shorten the crossing distance for pedestrians. These can be accompanied by the addition of crosswalks or mid-block crossings, or improving the visibility of existing crosswalks, providing the opportunity to enlist local artists and community input. A quick word of caution when installing asphalt art for installations of curb extensions and crosswalks. Make sure that it does not interact with or adversely impact official traffic control devices, such as other striping, or is distracting or confusing for road users. A pedestrian refuge island can be incorporated into crosswalks to also decrease the number of lanes a pedestrian has to cross. Prohibiting or changing parking, whether it's moving a parking zone or prohibiting it near curb extensions, can be a good way to see how the community reacts while influencing safety. Roundabouts are a good candidate for a quick build project to also gauge public interest and feedback at high-risk intersections and to measure the potential success of a permanent one. Many of these techniques can also be used as a form of traffic calming where speeding is an issue. One of the benefits of these types of projects is that the materials are typically low cost or already supplied in-house. Some materials, such as pavement stencils, can be borrowed from neighboring cities or counties, while others may be donated, especially if enlisting the help of local artists or businesses that may be able to provide their own paint or planters. The Complete Streets Technical Assistance Program is creating a lending library of materials available to municipalities of SJTPO through their application process. Commonly used materials include paint and stencils, bollards, delineator posts, barricades and barriers, traffic cones, movable curves, traffic signs, and elements of landscape design such as hay bales, planters, or other types of unconventional barriers. The two images on this slide both show a temporary curb bump out demonstration project. The bump out on the left was constructed in South Bend, Indiana, using a mesh ground barrier, plastic traffic cones, and an informative A-frame sign to visually narrow the travel lane and slow down traffic. The bump out on the right was installed locally by volunteers through Cross County Connection Transportation Management Association using a mesh ground barrier, hay bales, and traffic cones. This was installed at a crosswalk to protect pedestrians. All of these materials used in these projects are low cost or available through a lending library and are important elements in maximizing the effectiveness of this project. They allow for quick installation and easy adjustments, making them ideal for evaluating the effectiveness of design interventions in real-world conditions. Temporary barriers, such as the quick curb and white bollards, are great materials to use to construct a protected bicycle lane. These modular elements offer quick, low-cost installation and provide clear physical separation between cyclists and vehicles. Their combined use allows cities to test the effectiveness of the materials for protecting lanes before investing in permanent infrastructure. Bicycle lanes can be installed on the side of the road by limiting street parking, narrowing lanes, or using the shoulder. Bike lanes must be separated and protected from adjacent vehicles, which can be achieved by adding materials that provide both a physical barrier and vertical element. Commonly used materials include a combination of paint or tape, bollards or delineator posts, traffic cones, planters, or any other fixture that defines the separation of lanes. Identify locations where a bike lane would be most useful, where there is high bicycle traffic, related crashes, or consult the public on where they would ride a bike if there were proper infrastructure. This can be done using a survey, social media, or by talking to local residents or businesses. Along corridors with high bicycle traffic, protected bike lanes can be delineated using physical barriers such as planters and bollards to separate cyclists from vehicle traffic. These treatments enhance rider safety, improve visibility, and encourage multimodal transportation. Informational signage and QR codes may be deployed to educate the public and gather feedback during demonstration projects. This demonstration project in Asbury Park involved the installation of a separated bike and e-scooter lane. As part of the process, parking was removed so that the bike and e-scooter lane could be installed, with extra space to keep it separated from adjacent vehicle traffic. Signage was also put up to explain the demonstration project with a QR code to submit feedback. Visit the story map linked on this page for details on the background of the Asbury Park Bike Lane Demonstration Project, including conceptual drawings, a list of materials used, installation method, and how they measured the results and feedback. This bike lane in Jersey City was installed by relocating the permissible parking area and creating the bike lane with paint and protective bollards. Mid-block crossings are crosswalks that provide a dedicated space for pedestrians to cross a road where there are no intersections or on a stretch of road that does not have close adjacent intersections. When installing a mid-block crossing, supplement the crosswalk with appropriate signage and pavement markings. Also consider constructing curb extensions or bump outs to improve driver visibility of pedestrians and as a form of traffic calming. There are several ways to narrow down potential mid-block crossing locations. Look for areas that have high pedestrian activity already present, no convenient crosswalks or places where pedestrians naturally cross the road without a crossing, and near popular destinations or bus stops. This mid-block crossing was part of a demonstration project in Glendora Village in California. They incorporated landscaped safety barriers in the form of planters and curb extensions or ball belts as part of the project, as well as a median refuge island for pedestrians to use while crossing the road. They also supplied an informational sign with a QR code for more details about the project and to gain feedback from the public. These features are designed to enhance pedestrian visibility, reduce crossing distances, and provide safer waiting areas in multi-lane crossings. This mid-block crossing was installed in the town of Big Sky in Montana as a traffic calming measure to visually signal drivers to slow down and be alert to pedestrian activity. Curb extensions were also installed for an extra layer of safety, as well as plastic bollards and a planter to improve driver visibility of pedestrians. This pop-up mid-block crossing was installed by students from a high school in Oakland, California, at a site where a student was previously struck by a car while crossing the road. This installation includes ramps for the sidewalk and median curbs, bright traffic cones, and pedestrian signage to alert drivers of the upcoming crosswalk and to watch out for pedestrians. Pedestrian refuge islands often complement mid-block crossings to improve safety and accessibility for vulnerable road users. A refuge island is a break in the median that gives pedestrians a safe area after they cross one direction of traffic while they wait for a break in traffic from the other direction before continuing to cross the remainder of the crosswalk. This decreases the number of lanes a pedestrian must cross at one time and allows them to focus on only one direction of travel at a time. The recommended width of the refuge island is 4 to 8 feet to accommodate all users, such as groups of pedestrians, wheelchairs, strollers, and bicycles. When developing, ensure that there is adequate barriers and reflective markers. This project in Madison, Minnesota features a mid-block crossing with the addition of a pedestrian refuge island protected by yellow and black bollards. This refuge island allows pedestrians to cross in 2 stages, focusing on one direction of traffic at a time, which is especially beneficial on wider or busier roads. The combination of high visibility markings and physical barriers create a break for pedestrians and reinforces driver awareness. This residential crosswalk in Seattle, Washington used a brick overlay with yellow bollards to designate the median refuge island. A quick-build project in Omaha, Nebraska received funding to install temporary modular pedestrian refuge islands with the intention for them to eventually become permanent infrastructure. These mats are made up of interlocking pieces of rubber composite that can be put together in different configurations. Note the presence of different types of signage used, including pedestrian crossing indicators, directional arrows, and an informational poster. Extending the curb lane is another example of a quick build or demonstration project. This entails physically narrowing a roadway by expanding the curb line to help reduce pedestrian crossing distance, improve pedestrian visibility, improve intersection visibility, reduce vehicle speeds, and reduce corner radii at intersections to reduce turning speeds. Curb extensions are ideal at locations with high pedestrian traffic or where traffic calming is needed. There are three main approaches to curb extensions, including mid-block curb extensions, bump outs or bulb outs at intersections, and radius reduction at intersections. This intersection in Tucson, Arizona features painted curb extensions with physical barriers, planters and bollards, that extend the curb line, creating corner bulb outs that reduce turning speeds, restrict parking at the intersection approaches, and shorten pedestrian crossing distances. These combined elements offer a cost-effective way to calm traffic and improve visibility at urban intersections. While this intersection uses a unique painted mural to create curb extensions, use caution when painting the pavement to ensure it is not distracting to drivers or impacting other traffic control devices or pavement markings. This is an example of a painted bulb out that has white delineator posts and vibrant surface markings, creating a highly visible and protected pedestrian zone at an intersection corner. This demonstration project in Orange, New Jersey shows before and after pictures of improvements done at an intersection, including curb extensions at the crosswalks and a pedestrian refuge island. Mid-block curb extensions are installed with mid-block crossings. Similar to bump outs or bulb outs, these curb extensions jut out into the road at crosswalks to shorten the crossing distance for pedestrians. Similarly, they also improve driver visibility when approaching a mid-block crossing. This mid-block curb extension in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, allows pedestrians to safely cross from one side of the road to the other at the crosswalks. Although the crosswalks are at a three-leg intersection, they are still considered mid-block crossings since the major leg is uncontrolled. This particular crossing was positioned near a trolley stop and has future designs for a permanent installation. Note that the street parking in the area of the mid-block curb extension is now prohibited. Mid-block curb extensions painted with bold patterns and vivid colors capture a driver's attention and draw their eyes to pedestrians that may be crossing. In this local example, a mid-block curb extension was painted along Route 49 in Salem City in Salem County. Although this crossing is at a three-leg intersection, the main leg has no traffic control. Note that the curb extension prohibits parking leading up to the mid-block crosswalk to make it easier for vehicles to see pedestrians since they will not be obstructed by parked vehicles. At intersections with high pedestrian activity, bump outs or bulb outs are an effective strategy to prohibit parking, improve intersection visibility, and to shorten this pedestrian crossing distance. These extensions may be limited to one approach to an intersection or continue through the curb radius to the cross street approach as well. Consider locations with high pedestrian activity, low motorist visibility, and locations that are near transit stops or popular destinations. This curb bump out in Chicago, Illinois features vibrant colors to grab the attention of drivers and to reiterate that this area is not for vehicular traffic or parking. The pole delineators act as a physical vertical separation between the vehicles and pedestrians that are standing in the bump out area. Similar to the bump outs in Chicago, this urban intersection in New Haven, Connecticut also uses bright colors to draw the attention of drivers to pedestrians and to visually narrow the roadway. White bollards reinforce the physical separation between vehicles and pedestrian space, while dual stop signs and pavement markings emphasize driver awareness and compliance at the crossing. This picture taken in Jersey City displays both a curb bump out and a bike lane, providing both pedestrians and bicyclists a dedicated area that's separated from vehicular traffic. These projects were created using pavement paint, which is a low-cost way to make a significant impact. Decreasing the radius at the corners of intersections is a design approach that increases visibility and encourages traffic calming. It encourages drivers to slow down when making a right turn and improves safety for pedestrians by reducing the crossing distance and opening up sight triangles approaching the intersection. Consider locations with high pedestrian activity and low driver visibility. Ensure that the type of vehicle and truck traffic is also considered when redesigning the curb radius. Roundabouts may seem like an unlikely candidate for a quick build project, but can actually help gauge public feedback and measure potential success of a permanent roundabout. Temporary roundabouts should be considered at low-volume, unsignalized intersections that have a history of traffic congestion or high-severity crashes. A roundabout consists of a central island, where entering traffic slows down and yields to vehicles already inside. This eliminates the left turn movement. Because the traffic control is changing, signage and delineation of the roundabout should clearly communicate the change to approaching drivers, as well as how drivers should navigate the intersection. Supplemental signing and pavement markings should be considered. Also consider the type of vehicles using the intersection to ensure that truck traffic will still be able to safely navigate. The image on the left shows a quick-build roundabout in a residential neighborhood in Illinois. It used low-cost materials like flexible orange and black bollards and standard signage to define the circular traffic pattern. Its modular design allows for rapid installation and easy adjustments, which provides an effective interim solution for calming traffic and improving intersection safety. The demonstration project in the image on the right was installed with help from Cross-County Connection Transportation Management Association and a local New Jersey municipality using hay bales, traffic cones, and A-frame signage, indicating how to navigate the roundabout. Both roundabout examples on this slide guide drivers through the intersection while minimizing construction disruption, keeping costs low, and providing the opportunity to evaluate public feedback and safety effectiveness before investing in a permanent option. The full process of implementing a quick build or demonstration project includes first identifying potential locations. The local road safety plans are a great resource to reference for lists of prioritized roadway segments, intersections, high-risk rural roads, and pedestrian and bicycle locations specific to your county. The appendix of each LRSP also summarizes roadway characteristics to target crash types of concern. Other methods of identifying locations may include focusing on locations with high pedestrian or bicycle traffic or garnering public input. The next step is to determine the type of project for each location and the materials needed, then how to procure the materials. Depending on the proximity of the locations, the type of project, or the required materials, consider implementing systemically. To measure the success of the project, develop a plan to measure performance, such as the number of crashes or public feedback. If a project is deemed successful, consider transitioning the temporary fixtures into a permanent installation. This could be upgrading the materials used, replacing the materials with concrete, or including repainting during annual maintenance. As with any type of safety project, consider any liability factors and adhere to local, state, and MUTCD regulations and guidelines. All project plans should be approved by both the engineer and transportation facility owner, whether it's a private property owner or government body, regardless of the guidance given by Cross-County Connection or SJTPO, and documented as a letter to SJTPO. Navigate to the Cross-County Connections YouTube channel and find the video titled Voorhees Complete Streets Lab for a look at the complete process for a 2-week Complete Streets demonstration project that aimed to improve pedestrian and bicyclist safety. This video explains location selection, project development and installation, and garnering community feedback. Maintenance workers will be able to install pavement markings and tape for many of these projects. Due to the temporariness of quick build and demonstration projects, you can make the decision to remove the pavement markings at the end of the project or make it permanent by frequently repainting or including it in the annual maintenance schedule. Community members play a vital role by contributing labor, local knowledge, and feedback, ensuring the design reflects neighborhood needs and builds public support for long-term changes. Quick build and demonstration projects offer an opportunity to collaborate with safety partners around the region. Consider what other departments within your agencies may have in terms of materials, staff, or other resources to help implement or promote the projects being developed. Similarly, these projects may be an ideal circumstance to partner with other county or municipal agencies, state agencies, or other counties to share experiences and lessons learned with quick build or demonstration project implementation. Since these projects are short-term, partnerships may be less formal than traditional project development, allowing for opportunities to expand the project team and create new working relationships. Cross-County Connection is another great organization to consult and include as a partner for quick build and demonstration projects. Cross-County Connection serves the entire SJTPO region and partners with municipalities to implement quick builds and demonstration projects. These projects are an excellent opportunity to build a partnership with the community and local neighborhoods. This engagement will establish trust, communicate the needs of the community, and include the public on important decisions that will impact their commuting. These groups can include various community organizations and clubs, religious groups, schools, businesses and restaurants, parks and recreation, municipal departments, local artists, and local leaders. Attending community events, such as farmers markets and festivals, is an opportunity to interact with a diverse group of people and receive their opinions on issues within their own neighborhoods or to present a proposed project. Community engagement is a vital part of quick build demonstration projects, shaping both their design and long-term success. In these examples from East Orange, New Jersey, and Cleveland, Ohio, signage and outreach efforts invite residents to learn about the temporary curb extensions and pilot safety improvements. Including a QR code, website, or social media platform encourages the community to get more information about the project, a potential timeline, and to provide feedback or concerns. Since quick build and demonstration projects are intended to be short-term temporary solutions, there should be a time frame of implementation determined when the project is designed. This can range from several weeks to years, depending on the type of project and success or failure based on performance data, which will be addressed on the next slide, and public feedback. Public feedback can be collected in a variety of creative ways. A survey can be posted to the LRSP website at saferoadssouthjersey.com or sent out as part of an emailed newsletter. Posting for opinions on social media is another way to collect input from those who are interacting with the project. Also try attending outreach events, such as farmers markets and local functions. The image shown here is a screenshot of a public online survey to evaluate community feedback from the Quick Build project in East Orange that was shown on the previous slide. The survey is available in English, Spanish, and Haitian Creole. The steering committee will be responsible for tracking the progress of the projects and reporting on any progress, issues, and resolutions. All updates should be published to the LRSP website at saferoadssouthjersey.com. As a project is starting to wrap up, it is recommended to evaluate the success or shortcomings of the project. This can be measured using points such as calculating the number of reduced crashes, comparing the number of police officers or enforcement needed for the area, or an overall decrease in the number of people speeding. After evaluating, if the project was indeed successful, the steering committee may consider extending the project or creating a permanent installation, like this one shown here in Fayetteville, Arkansas. This is an example taken from a curb extension demonstration project in West Hollywood, California, asking the public to share their thoughts on the project. The sign is asking community members to text either the letter C or D to a phone number, depending on whether they like or dislike the curb extensions. There is also a QR code and website for additional information or feedback opportunities. The Complete Streets Technical Assistance Program offers resources, training, and assistance to municipal governments within the SJTPO region in order to implement or enhance the Complete Streets initiative, which prioritizes designing streets to accommodate all road users. This technical program was founded through a partnership with the Rutgers Allen M. Voorhees Transportation Center, Sustainable Jersey, and Cross County Connection. The technical assistance offered includes developing a bicycle network plan to improve infrastructure, coordinating a community workshop walk audit to identify pedestrian and bicycle improvements along a roadway segment, and policy guidance for the Complete and Green Streets for All program. Another resource through the assistance program is a materials lending library. Quick build and demonstration projects are a key component of Complete Streets, as many of these projects are aimed at improving conditions for vulnerable road users. The Complete Streets Technical Assistance Program also supports the development of several plans, some of which may include temporary demonstration projects, such as a bicycle network plan, Complete Streets Community Workshop Walk Audit, or Complete and Green Streets for All guidance. Make sure to frequently visit the website on this slide for up-to-date application periods, application criteria, and additional information and resources. Another great resource is SJTPO's Complete Streets Technical Assistance website, which offers a list of all past demonstration projects installed through this program, including final reports. Not all safety projects require the traditional concept and design process. By leveraging the low-cost options presented in this training, you will learn what works best for your community and infrastructure budget. Taking advantage of the collaboration with other counties, agencies, leadership, and the community will help build trust and receive honest feedback about the strategies, aiding in future design and implementation. Make sure to check out the other implementation training sessions available on YouTube for additional information. This concludes the Infrastructural Countermeasure session of the Local Road Safety Plan Implementation Training Series. Thank you for watching.